This
So,
conference will now be recorded.
yeah, thank you. So we have started this concept called as advanced scheduling last time, and we did completed persistent storage, uh, some of the topics over there. We will be doing one more topic on the persistent storage when we see the AKS cluster. So that is dynamic provisioning of the storage. That concept we are going to see in the upcoming sessions. So that way you will be able to see how to use the storage classes and everything. However, today we will be starting with the advanced scheduling, and I think in the last session we have discussed some part about it. Uh, I think couple of things we have discussed, but let me take recap it quickly, and then we'll go ahead with the advanced scheduling methodology. So, so what is advanced scheduling? Advanced scheduling is nothing but scheduling the your workload or pods you say or deployment on the specific worker nodes, right? And how do we do that one? By filtering and by scoring. So filtering method is nothing but finding out the finding out the if there are any unhealthy nodes, then finding out the scheduler, finding out the on which uh, worker node you wanted to schedule the pod, the condition constraint which you have discussed, that will be checked in the filtering step. And another important thing that we have seen, I hope that everybody is able to hear me, right? Last time, like there is no problem. Hope, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Piyush. Okay. And another important thing was the scoring. Scoring, we were discussing a lot about what is scoring last time. So one thing is that, guys, scoring is nothing but calculating the weight. And how do you calculate the weight? Weight is calculated depending on the how many resources available with that particular worker node. So not only CPU is also considered to be a resource for the weight calculation. So for the weight calculation, you can have resources such as CPU. So who is having more number amount of CPU, who is having more amount of RAM? Okay, so these some of them are there considered to be, so who is having a good, um, let's say that disk pressure, less disk pressure. Okay. So whose IO ops are good. So these are to be considered as a high weightage. So if you have two worker nodes, and if this CPU is at higher side, if the RAM is at higher side in this particular worker node, and IOPS speed of the hard disk also good at this particular worker node, then you can see that if you calculate the, if you give the numbers to that one, let's say 4 4 4 something like that, then the weight, so the addition will be 12, and accordingly the weight will be calculated. As much information about the weight is not given in the um, Kubernetes IO site. I have seen that. However, weight is calculated depending on the resources which has been available, and who are having them. They are free. So if they are more free, they are treated as they are having a higher weightage side. So weightage is calculated like that. Okay, so we have seen yesterday one thing in the advanced scheduling, that what are the different ways we can do the advanced scheduling. One is the node selector. Node selector is nothing but if you have a, let's say 2 or 3 nodes, worker nodes are there in your cluster, and so this is another worker node, and you have one more worker node here, and depending on the label, if you label this as, let's say, uh, disk is equal to SSD, or maybe if you label this as, let's say, region is equal to US East 2, something like that, or maybe you are here also again using disk called as disk is equal to SSD. So in such case, you say that you want to deploy the uh, pods or workload whose label on the worker node whose label is region is equal to US is 2. So scheduler will accordingly find out the labeled worker node, and it will put the payloads inside that. That is a pod inside this one. This is a node selector. But in the node selector also we have seen the two important methodologies. One thing is a required and another one is a preferred one. So required is nothing a hard kind of stuff, right? Hard quota you can say. It is a hard limit. So when we say that deploy the uh, deploy the workload on the node whose label is region equal to US is 2, but it is required. So when it is required is there, it doesn't look at any other worker nodes. It just it just deploys the worker nodes on this machine. In case something is going wrong here, the pod will go into pending state, but it will not prefer other worker nodes. Okay, that is nothing but a required method. But when you say that when we use the preferred method, that means preferably the pod will be deployed on this one. But however, if it doesn't find if this particular node is not suitable or if it is not useful, then it may try to find out the another worker nodes depending on the weightage. Okay, so depending on the weightage, it can choose the one of the worker node to deploy in case this is not working fine. Okay, so these are the two methods which you have seen related to node selector. But in the node selector, that is sorry, node affinity, and node affinity is nothing but what? This is what we have seen. What is a node anti-affinity? Anti-affinity is nothing but do not deploy the pod on where region is equal to US is 2. Deploy anywhere else, but do not deploy on this particular worker node whose uh, label is region is equal to US is 2. That is called as a node anti-affinity. And affinity is nothing but deploy on that worker node. That is the meaning of this node affinity and anti-affinity. We will be seeing the examples, couple of examples, and then we'll go ahead. What is a pod affinity and pod anti-affinity? Okay. Pod affinity and anti-affinity is nothing but consider one scenario. This is your worker node 3, and on worker node 3 you have deployed one pod whose name is or who has been labeled as app is equal to prod. This is the label of the pod which is sitting on this particular worker node. So this is the pod whose label is app is equal to prod. Now again you write one YAML file manifest and says that I want to deploy the pod, the new deployment or the new pod on the such a worker node where the earlier pod where the pod our existing pod is having a label called as app is equal to prod. What is the meaning of that? This is a pod which is running right now on worker 3 whose label is app is equal to prod, and you would like to deploy the new pod. Where you want to deploy the new pod? So you will tell API server that deploy the new pod on the worker node where existing pod is having a label called as app is equal to prod. Do not deploy anywhere. And that is called as the pod affinity. It is not a node affinity, it is a pod affinity. And what is a pod anti-affinity? Pod anti-affinity is nothing but do not deploy the pod where existing pod is having a label called as app is equal to prod. That is called as a pod anti-affinity. Right, guys? So we have seen in the node affinity, deploy the pod whose label is region is equal to US is 2. That is nothing but a node affinity. Do not deploy the pod whose label is US is 2. That is nothing but kind of node anti-affinity. Similarly, you have pod affinity. Deploy the pod on the worker node where existing pod is having label called as app is equal to prod, right? And if you say that, do not deploy the pod where the existing pod is having a label app is equal to prod, that is anti-pod affinity. Okay, that is a pod anti-affinity, right? So this is the definition of the pod affinity and anti-affinity. And we are also going to see what is the taints and toleration, right? So if you have any question in the understanding of these terminologies, you can ask me question. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and Pujita is asking during filtering, if I want to give multiple condition, is there any option that I can give highest priority to one condition? You can use, Pujita, multiple conditions. Yes, we can mix it up, right? That is possible. We have the options for that as well. And Anuj is saying that pod affinity, what if that application with that label exists on multiple nodes, right? Okay, so then the scoring comes into picture, weightage comes into picture. So wherever the worker node is having higher weightage or having higher resources available, it will choose that one. And Abhiram is asking, can I have affinity or anti-affinity to node pool level? Or okay, or it limits to node or pod only, or say deploy to node in zone 2 X region. Mm, node pool level you are talking about when you are having a cloud native uh, cluster, right? And
Yes,
you have, yeah, and you have multiple node pools there,
correct. Like a
right?
stateful node pool and stateful node pool could be one of the thing. Like
Hmm.
Cassandra stateful and status like something like that. Yeah. So it at that level I can do. And also I was thinking in a cluster when where I
Hmm.
want to manage it at a cluster level. Can I do that? Can I control that at least? Or is it
No,
limited only to node or pod?
node and pod, as per the definitions which you have right now, you can have a multiple conditions defined for the nodes as well as pods. It doesn't come across the cluster level or let's say this pool level, but it is coming. You can label the if you can label the nodes as per the pool name, and then you can deploy that way. Okay, but you have to label the nodes accordingly. I have not seen any other type of the advanced scheduling methodology where pool level is given. But if you define additional label to the nodes, then it can be done.
Mhm. Or to the cluster level also is not seen, right? Maybe it is okay.
Right, because that option is not available. You can basically you can give the conditions, right? You can give the conditions. Multiple conditions can be given, but it will happen at the node level or it will happen at the
Pod
pod
level.
level only. That is the one. Yeah, that is the one thing. And another important thing is that you can give the conditions, couple of conditions like that, where you can have weight as well as we can give the hard limit or soft limit. That is nothing but called as uh, required and preferred one.
And also this limits to a worker node. Now, I mean, this node, when you say node, it's not like master node, but all these are worker node, you mean, right? I mean, that's how it is, correct? Or
No, you can deploy on the master node also. You can
oh,
deploy
but
on the
again,
master.
okay, if it is managed one, I may not be able to control, right? I mean, yeah, if it is enterprise Kubernetes, yes, but I don't know whether managed like a AKS, EKS or whatever.
No, no, in that one, it will not allow you to do that
Ah,
one. It will not
mm,
allow you to do that one. But I have seen the I have deployed this kind of cluster where we can definitely we can deploy the pod on the master node as well.
oh, okay, okay. So master is also possible. Okay,
Yeah, it is possible.
okay.
So Pujita, what is your question? You said that during filtering, if I want to give multiple condition, yeah, that is possible. Yeah, that is very much possible. So let me just check out for Pujita that what is the condition we can give and how we can give that one. Let me tell you that Kubernetes. What I wanted to check, yeah, node affinity, right? So there, how to define the multiple conditions. That is what I wanted to show you. This is the match expression. This is the way we can perform multiple conditions. So you can, in the match expression, you can give the multiple key values here. Right, Pujita? Is your question? Okay. Uh, okay, thank you. So this is the way we can define it. Look at this. I can define multiple keys and values. Now, Anuj is asking, what if there is no capacity on that node where the app with label exists? And if you are using required one, Anuj, if you are saying that it is required methodology or required affinity rule, then pod will go into pending state if that label doesn't match,
So will it
right?
not go to, yeah, perfect. Will it not go to any other node and create a pod? Because the node where we have this application with this label does not have any capacity.
Right. So you have to, in case you have used preferred one, then it will go to the another one. But
Okay,
if it
all
is
right, all right.
required, then it will not
Uh,
go.
Perfect. Last
Mhm,
question. Is it a
mhm.
good practice to use these affinities? Because looks like this is a kind of dependence and you just need them some particular scenarios. You really don't want to be using them. It is a
No,
kind of a dependency, right? You want
it
a
is. Yes,
specific
yes.
node to be created on that pod and
Mhm.
things like that. So are there any real-time examples where we actually need these options?
Yeah, the region-wise, if you see cloud-based cluster, if you are
Hmm.
having your worker nodes at the different places, let's say that your customers are across the globe, okay, and what you want, the people from or customer from the, let's say, US region should access the worker nodes which are in the US region. Okay, the
Hmm.
people who are from the Asia region should access the node which is there in the, let's say, so Mumbai data center or maybe Singapore data center for the better latency. So
Hmm.
that way you can create the conditions. So this is one of the good condition to be placed, right? Because if there is a more traffic coming in the Diwali season, put the more pods this side on this particular node so that they will have a less latency and your customers will be happy from this side. If there is some happy new year or some 1st January or 25th December is coming, and if there is a lot of sale coming from this region, please put more pods on the region where the this kind of community is living, so they will have a less latency. It depends on the customer placements where your customers are more. It is not advisable to put all the pods in the Asia region if the US or Europe people are going to access it. They will feel the latency. So that in that condition you can create this kind of stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Ramesh. It's very well explained. Yeah, thank you.
Not
Okay.
only that, Anuj, like basically, like when we want to have a place where governance is a requirement, because some of the projects
Ah,
require governance. Yeah. See, for example, I'll give you my example. Like they say, okay, I have X marketing, sales, onboarding, R&D. Now the R&D is a guy who is telling, okay, R&D is something which is not exposed outside. R&D is within the company and the governance because of whatever reason. So R&D related API will go to that pod only. So that's where the
yeah.
more of a governance example. So otherwise, marketing, sales are basically a public, doing. So that
Mhm.
also can be viewed as a good business example.
And Abhiram, one more thing comes in my mind that let's say that there is one cluster and as per the federal services,
Yeah,
let's say government of India or government of other countries cannot put their data outside their country regional
correct,
wise.
correct.
And
Yeah,
if
yeah,
there is one, yeah, one
Mm,
application is there which we want to put inside that regions, I think that is also a good example.
yeah.
That time
yeah.
also you can give this.
Like your Aadhaar card or whatever. I mean, maybe that could be one of the examples.
Mm,
For
right.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah. Just to add to it, because there are other financial conduct authorities where they don't allow your data to be exposed to a different country. So I think, yeah, it very well fits to this.
Mm.
Thanks, Abhiram and Ramesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
not
this
only
is
the company. See, when I say R&D, within the company, R&D person, PhD person also only see. That's how I'm talking about.
right.
Because
Right. You are
company
also, yeah, your point
marketing,
is also.
yeah.
Hmm.
So that way, I mean, within the company also you can restrict. This is what I'm coming to.
So what Abhiram is trying to say that, let's say that deploy the pods on one of the worker node and expose that to the only to the marketing team or research team. Are you getting it? So
Mm,
yeah, so they will not get playing with this another worker nodes as well,
but you
right?
can, right, but in that case, you are sort of restricting this. I mean, what about the scalability in that case? Let's say if all the
Hmm.
pod goes down, then you can
Hmm.
probably handle this in using your access level rather than on a node level or uh, pod level. You can have a restriction
Right, right.
at the access level rather than
Actually,
actually saying that,
hmm.
oh, this department needs a different cluster or different pod. That I'm not sure how will that scale.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, they will have a different scaling for other that department.
Scaling
It's
for.
more of, see, there is in a cloud it is called tenant. Okay, a
Hmm.
tenant
Hmm.
means the whole thing belongs to them. So the any data incoming outgoing is not exposed. So that way we are managing at a node level also. I mean, yeah,
So in
I mean,
that case,
any,
how about using a node different namespace for them? I think that will do the
yeah,
same
that is
thing, and
also there.
you still
No,
can use the same cluster, same pod, same node, but your namespace is different, and they can't actually access the other
I'll
namespace
tell you one thing. In
resources.
the yeah, I got it. In the AKS deployment, I will show you that we can create a different agent pools. So what I can have depending on the requirement of the organization, we can have the agent pools.
Hmm.
Let's say that I can have this worker one and worker two, or worker two and worker three for the low level applications or testing kind of application will be deployed on this agent pool where we'll use a less amount of CPU and RAM. In another case where you have actually production cases are there, sorry, you have production cases, that time what you can do, you can create a node pool or a node pool with the higher CPU utilization and RAM resources so that they can be deployed like this one. So we can create we can create the what you say high availability redundancy or scaling out scaling down in if it is an enterprise level cluster, so that is very much possible.
No,
Okay.
but Ramesh, like, how about like just depending upon the RBAC? Because normally, if you take just a general application like any web application, anything like
Hmm.
depending upon rollback or
Hmm.
access, whatever authorization authentication we provide, depending upon
Hmm.
that person or that particular organization may view that particular page. Correct.
Ha, right,
So
right. That is application level. That is application level, not RBAC level. See, customer doesn't come to
no,
your
but
cluster. Customer access your application from the outside. They are interested in that one. But administrator and development perspective, if you want to segregate the load, depending on the labeling or depending on the resources utilization or area, so then we can segregate the node full set. As this is what I was trying to tell you guys. I hope that that makes some,
okay.
yeah.
Because I was in
Yeah.
the just like I was just thinking in terms of a normal application because Kubernetes was just like a learning for me. So I was just thinking
Hmm.
we avoid we put NLB or whatever ALB NLB stuff, and depending on that we provide a uh, authorization authentication on that to get access to that particular person or organization.
So there, yeah, very good. Actually, this is a very good thing you have noted down. See, there are two types of the authentication and authorization that we are going to see in the next session, coming session. But anyway, let me just give you a glimpse of it. For application level, we can have the control on the application. But who is going to access the Kubernetes cluster? The only two people in the organization, set of the two peoples. One is the administrator and another one is the developers. So for them, we have to create a RBAC in the Kubernetes cluster, not for the of course, not for the development application who are customers who are going to access it. So we'll see that in detail. Arpak.
Yeah. Thanks, Ramesh.
Yeah. Okay. Dan, this is something which is surprising. Can Piyush help him that why he's not able to create a virtual machine? If you don't mind. Okay. You can take Dan. Can you just pass on whatever the subscription details are there, or maybe If you can pass on some credentials, he will definitely help you to sort it out. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Piyush.
Okay.
Yeah. Now let's move ahead with the examples of this stuff, guys. I think we have done the node selector last time, and let's do it for the. I think we have also done for the affinity, node affinity and node anti-affinity, but let me do that again. But today we'll see the pod affinity and pod anti-affinity as well, and along with the taints. So let me go to the my documentation and where the standard examples are there. We'll take that one. In case you want to try something else, let me know that as well. So the topic is something called as pods with node affinity and pods with node anti-affinity. So have we deployed this one, guys? Yeah. We first of all, we need to see the labels of the nodes. Okay, so right now we'll see that is there any label. How to see the labels? We can use this commands. Okay, so it shows that kubectl get nodes hyphen show labels. So you see that what are the labels are available. These are the well-known labels, and we don't have any additional labels which has been applied to this one, right, guys? Okay, now, so I can label this one, label nodes. I am labeling the worker one. See here, labeling the worker node. How do we do that one? You can use the command kubectl label node worker -01. And what is the labeling you want to give? Let's say this is a disk is equal to, if I'm not wrong, what is the example you have taken? Disk type is equal to SSD. So it has been labeled now. Kubectl get nodes and show labels. So let me use this command to see whether it is labeled or not. Yeah, and it shows that worker 01 has been labeled like that. It is showing disk is equal to SSD. Oh, it is already disk is equal to SSD there, but disk type I have added just now as a SSD. So we'll use this label, guys. Okay, so our worker one has been labeled as disk type is equal to SSD. Now, what we want to do, now we want to constrain the deployment to that particular node. So we can use this, let me show you this label deployment YAML file. Oh, I need to be in the another folder. Okay, guys, and you see here, this is a label. What is the label we are using for the node selector is app is equal to prod and disk is equal to SSD. I think we have discussed this lot, right? Last time we have seen many things about this one. Let me quickly complete this one. Disk type is equal to SSD. And let me deploy this. How many replicas are there? We don't want so many replicas. Let me have the only 2 replicas here. Okay, and let me deploy this. Kubectl apply -f and a label dash deployment.yaml. Kubectl get pods -o wide, and you see that where these 2 pods have started running now, they are, one is running on the worker 1 and another one is running on the worker 2. That means this has not worked. Is it so? Yeah, worker 2 is also having a disk type is equal to SSD. Oh, I need to remove that. Earlier one is having this type is equal to. So how do I remove the label from the worker 2? kubectl label node worker -02, and let me remove this label type, guys. Because of that, it has got deployed on the both the machines, right? Is it correct? Yeah, it has been removed now. Now let me again try to deploy it.
Ramesh, what is the condition, required or preferred?
No, I have not used that one. We are just doing the plain now.
Okay.
Node selector. Yeah. I'm just recapping it so that I just forgot that what was the last session which I took in the last session. So I'm starting it from the beginning so that those who have not understood, they will also get it properly. So you can see here now, I have applied again this stuff. And now you see that this is worker one. Okay. So in short, depending on the condition, the pods got deployed on the worker nodes whose label is equal to this type is equal to SSD. And you can see it again if you want to see. Okay. Look at this. This is the node selector type we have given. This type is equal to SSD, and that's why it is going on the worker node where it has been defined. So this is one of the node selector kind of stuff. Now,
Ramesh,
let me delete this
question. So in this case, if you have all the nodes of type SSD, then it is going to scale on to all the worker nodes, isn't it?
No, I haven't understood your question. What you said?
Okay, so you got two worker nodes, both are of type SSD. So when you apply this YAML file, when you run this one, so the Nginx deployment will be scaled onto both the worker nodes, correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it got deployed on the both machines because their label was same, right? Now, let's take the one more example. Okay, we have deleted this one. This is so let's go for the node affinity. Okay, and node anti-affinity stuff. So we have seen is last time this is what is the preferred during scheduling with the help of wait, but let me explain you this one more time so that that will get clear to each and every one of you. So let me open the file called as node affinity deployment. Node affinity dash deployment dot YAML, and this is a deployment, right guys? And I don't know what we were doing last time, but the replicas are too much, so let me make it 2. And this is a label, this is a template coming up, guys, and this is the rule, affinity rule, which you have written, right? And what is the rule we have written? That's preferred during scheduling, ignored during execution. What is the weight we have used? 10. I think we can use 1 also, we can use 100 also. And preference is, if it is match expression this type is equal to SSD, then deploy on that node. But if it, in any case, if it doesn't found this expression, okay, and if the worker node on which labeling has been done as this type is equal to SSD, if that is not having a ample amount of resources, then deploy on other worker node also. So that is what preferred during scheduling means, right? So, and it depends on the weight. So last time I think we had done because we wanted to check it, right? So that's why we made it 2 or 20 like that, right? So let me save this one and see that whether this new deployment, Nginx deployment, gets deployed on the worker node whose label is this type is equal to SSD.
Ramesh, in that same file, can you show me where we have mentioned preferred?
In the same file, okay, here we have mentioned preferred during, is it visible or not visible?
No, visible, but then the color, right? So
okay, so I need to
the
change
color combination,
Just the
headers
key,
for making is visible.
can you just make the key value as in different shade?
Like black and different. Yeah, it's like very.
1 second. I don't know whether it looks good or not.
Yeah, this is better for me at least.
Okay, let's for this today. Let
That's
me with
better.
this
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I will change it next time. I will make it better next time because I need to do some little bit R&D on that one. Okay, can you see this, guys? This is showing preferred during scheduling, ignore during execution. This is the
Yeah,
this
much
is
better.
yeah. Okay. So now let me deploy this. I was doing a lot of R&D on this one. I did a lot of R&D on this particular wait word, and wait word comes. So let's say that before deploying any pod also, what is the weightage of all the worker nodes? So that is calculated on their resources, computing power, as well as their IOPS type, networking capability. Depending on all, they have marked each one of them. Each resources has been marked. The summation of total resources, okay, has been called as a weight, right? So depending on how many workload is there on each worker node, the weight can get changed. Okay. So let me now save this. So what is your intention? Where these pods will get deployed, guys? They will get deployed on the worker node whose label is disk type is equal to SSD, right? That is the meaning of it. So kubectl apply -f node affinity deployment.yaml. Earlier one I have removed. So I hope that now in this one we'll be able to see where this is getting deployed. I hope that as per the weightage, it should get deployed on the worker one, because worker one has been kubectl get pods -o white, and it has got deployed on one on the worker one and one on the worker two, right? What could be the reason for this one? Because there is a possibility that weightage of the worker one, so when it got deployed, first pod got deployed, it has chosen the worker one, but because of the preferred condition, worker two weightage might have come at the higher side, and it has deployed the another pod on the worker two. So it is completely depending on the weightage which you are applying. So I think last time we did this with by increasing the replicas, right? And we said that let's increase the replicas and see what happens here. How many goes on the worker one and how many goes on the worker two. I think that might have done. And now you can see here kubectl get pods -o wide, and see most of them have got deployed on the worker one, but few of them have got deployed on the worker two as well. So two of them have got deployed on the worker two, and remaining rest of them have got deployed on the worker one. So it is calculating the weightage, and accordingly it is getting deployed. So that doesn't mean if you have given that doesn't mean if you are using a preferred one, so that will not get deployed on another pod, will not get deployed on another worker node. Yes, it can be, but when it will not get deployed, when the condition inside this file is changed from preferred to required, that
Ramesh,
time it
before
will
you
not
do
get
that,
deployed.
can you put the weightage as 100 with for?
Let me try out again one more time. Let me put the weightage as 100 here, but before that I need to delete it, right? Okay, so let me delete it. Kubectl delete deployment nginx dash deployment. Okay, I hope that there are no pods now. Get pods. So all of them are getting terminated, right? So it will get terminated quickly. Okay, it has got terminated now. Yeah, now there are no pods. Now let's try to apply this, which I have reconfigured this file. Kubectl apply, and now see where these pods are getting deployed. So weightage is 100, right? So now you can see here. Still, some of the pods are getting deployed on the worker one, and the same condition is achieved. Two pods got deployed on the worker two, and the rest of the pods are got deployed on the worker one, right?
So weightage 100 means the preference is given to worker one compared to worker two. Is that
Right,
what I?
because yeah, because that is matching the label. That is the first thing is label matching. and then it goes to the resources, competition of resources.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I have deleted. Now let's go for the required one. So we have another methodology that what happens when we have pod affinity, node affinity written as a required one. So let's try out that. So name of the file is node affinity one, which is having a required during scheduling. So let me open node affinity one dash deployment.yaml, and guys, you should be able to see here that there are 6 replicas, but see the conditions required. And this is something which is interesting, right? So it will only get deployed on the worker node whose label is this type is equal to SSD. It won't get deployed anywhere else, even though there is a problem with this worker node. The pods will go into pending state, but they will not get deployed on any other worker node. So that is what meaning of it, right? So let me deploy it. kubectl apply -f node affinity one deployment.yaml, and look at this kubectl get pods -oy, and all of them have started on the worker one. None of them is started on the worker two, because it is a hard limit. We have said that it should be required while scheduling the pod or scheduling the pod on the worker, and that's why it is started on the worker one.
So Ramesh, one question. So with this thing, we cannot use a property called weight.
No, we cannot. Property weight is not used with the required method. Weight property is only used with the preferred one. Okay, all right. Now I can delete this one. kubectl delete -f node
Ramesh,
affinity.
one small question, Ramesh. So we have affinity and anti-affinity properties, right? Preferred during scheduling, ignored during execution, required during scheduling, and ignored during execution. So I got what is preferred during scheduling and required during scheduling, and what does ignored during execution mean?
Okay. The scheduling is nothing but okay. Now see this property you are asking, right? Let me just check out. Required during scheduling and ignored during execution.
Yes, I got what is required and preferred during scheduling. I didn't understand what is ignored during execution mean.
Execution is nothing but, let's say the pod is already deployed on the worker node. Okay, and what you will do with that pod which is there on that? So don't do anything. Let's say there are 100 pods running on the same worker node. Now you are creating one new deployment and putting a required condition or preferred condition. It will not affect the existing pods. So it is ignored for the pods which are right now running on it.
Okay, which means
this is one of the meaning coming out of it. Yeah.
This property is applicable only for the containers that are being created, not that are already created.
Right, correct.
Okay.
The ignore and also that means ignore should be always used, because I can just say, right, required during scheduling if by default a node does not disturb the current pod or whatever.
No, this string is as it is. We cannot change.
Oh, okay, we cannot change it, huh? Okay.
Yeah, this is the string is this one. I hope that they will change in upcoming versions very soon, because it is a very big string. And anyway, we should not, in any case, we should not affect the existing pods which are running, unless and unless you want to evict that one, right? So it doesn't make, but literally doesn't make this any sense for using this one, because it is anyway it is not affecting it.
Yeah, that's a default nature I was thinking. Yes, because yeah, we should not put. Yes, correct.
But we don't have that string which is only required during schedule. We have to use together. Okay.
So there is no default like between required and preferred one, right? We have to give either one of them.
Default is default one is a preferred one.
Preferred one. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now let me delete this. Okay. So that is basically preferred one is nothing but kind of a node selector only. Just apply the labels and it will work, right? But if the resources are not available, it will get deployed on the another worker node as well. That is the default behavior of the node selector policy. Now we have to discuss about the pod affinity and pod anti-affinity. So I have already discussed about what is a pod affinity and anti-affinity discussion is done, right? So what is a pod affinity? If the label of the pod says that, let's say that on worker 2 the label is there called as app is equal to prod for the pod. Let me show you again for in the diagram. I hope that you have understood. So I have one worker, this is a worker 2, and on that there is one pod deployed here as okay, this is worker 3, and there is a pod deployed here which is called as, which has a label called as app is equal to prod. Now I want to deploy a new pod, and where it should get deployed, where the existing pod is having a label called as app is equal to prod. So this is the scenario now we want to deploy. So let's try to do this one, guys. Pod affinity and pod anti-affinity. So first of all, we'll see pod affinity. So let's deploy the, let me see if I have any pod affinity. Pod affinity deployment is there. This, okay, let me use this one. It is not a node affinity, guys. It is a pod affinity. VI. And now you can see that this is a simple deployment. I have not used any other stuff. So let me use replicas, only one replica for the understanding purpose, and then we can increase the replicas later on. Okay, so let me deploy this kubectl apply -f, and this is a pod affinity deployment -yaml. Okay, and this is deployed. Let's see that where it has got deployed. kubectl get pods. Preferably on the worker 1, it might have got, no, it has got the on the worker 2, right? So that means this worker 2 looks stronger than the worker 1. That's why it is going on the worker 2. Okay. Now we have the, and what is the label of this one? So kubectl get pods -o wide -- show labels, and you will be able to see that what is the label of it, right? So its label is app is equal to nginx and pod template is equal to something different, but this is a label basically, right? App is equal to nginx. Now what we want to do, we want to create a new pod, and we'll write the pod affinity definition inside that, and we'll say that please use please get deployed on the pod whose label is app is equal to, please get deployed on the worker node whose, where pod is having a label called as app is equal to nginx. So let me see if I have that definition, pod affinity 1 deployment. So this is the deployment name, nginx1.deployment, right? And we are just going to use only one replica, and this is the label for the template, right? And what is the affinity rule written here? See, up to this point everything is same, there is no change. All right, but what is the rule we have written? Required during scheduling, ignore during execution. So it is a required, it is a hard limit. Label selector match expression app is equal to nginx. So wherever you find this label to the pod, it will get deployed, right? So
Ramesh, can you modify the required to preferred, and then, because in that way, that is, we are truly testing the pod affinity feature. Because once you define required, it is going to deploy there.
How we will see that. Let me check out. Let's see this whether it is working on it here or not. So let me use replicas is equal to 2. Okay, and kubectl apply -f pod affinity 1.deployment.yaml, right? And now see here, it got deployed, and hopefully it should get deployed only on worker 2 only. So it has got deployed on the worker 2, right? So this is working fine. So what is the preferred one if you want to check, right? So you are saying that you want to check with the preferred one. So what should we do? Okay, so let me try out here. Vi pod affinity1 deployment.yaml, and okay, I need to change it here, right? So pod affinity. Do you remember the exact sentence syntax for that preferred one? Let me try out with here.
Ramesh, why don't we have that key and value pair for the topology label in the bottom?
You are asking about this, right? Topology key?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no problem. I'll explain it. Just wait for some time.
Okay.
Okay, and preferred one. Yeah, it's a big sentence, right? So it is a preferred during scheduling. Okay, let me copy this first of all. CP for affinity1 deployment.
I think you can just keep it preferred instead of required. That itself is sufficient.
Yeah, but later on in the next session, it will create a problem. So I need to
Okay.
make, yeah, preferred. So in future, I should be able to refer it right again. So this is additional one thing I can show to the participants every time, because that this exercise was not there. Okay, pod affinity.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Preferred. Yes, cool. Now let's change it. Just check out, guys, if I have written the right spelling. Preferred one. I think P should be capital.
No, P should not be capital, but you should get double R before ED.
Yes.
If I'm not wrong.
Okay. Yes, correct. It is P is small only, and then we have to use the weight as well here up to the preferred pod affinity, and preferred one is weight. So let me use weight as well here. We need to change it here something. And weight, let's say if you put :1, we can change it later on as well. And then preference, instead of label selector, we have to use a preference, guys, right? Yes. Okay, and what else is there? Match expression is there as it is. Key app operator in and values nginx, right? Fine. And there is one more additional thing is there, topology. So I just need to, I will check this one, guys. Just give me some time. And let me save here. But I need to change the deployment now. Let me use nginx 2 now, because already I think nginx 1 is deployed. And let me try with the 4 replicas here. So weightage will be calculated, and we can see the pods are getting deployed on. Let's see whether pods are getting deployed or not.
So from the weightage perspective, what is the least value and what is the maximum?
1 to 100 is given.
So 100 being the most weighted value. I mean, it should apply that. If I give you the weight as 100, it should mandatory should go to the same worker node at the time.
Actually, that is not happening. That understanding is not coming at the appropriate correctly about the weight. So weight need to be researched more. Oh, it is not working. I think that this is not functioning. This pod affinity preferred stuff.
I think there should be no hyphen before preferred preferences. Under weight there is preferences, right? It should be preferences, I guess, or preference.
Preference, right? It is a preference only, but it is aligned with the weight. Yeah, correct. Thank you. I think it looks good now. Let's see whether it works or not. So unknown field, it is taking unknown field preference. So in the pod affinity, I don't. Okay. Because when we are deploying it pods, weight will not come there. I think preferred during scheduling condition, it looks like it won't be available there because, okay, but that is something which.
Try without giving the weight.
No, it is giving the error in the preferences.
Ramesh, if you want, we can. I mean, next class we can discuss once, and you can test it in the meantime.
No, just let me try out 1 minute. Hi, this was not tested earlier, that is for sure. But I just want to check it one more time. Pod affinity, right? Example with preferred condition.
There is something called port term, something like that.
Exterm is there, right? Huh? Okay, I will check. Otherwise, I will definitely test in the next session. There is no problem. But give me 1 minute. Not more than 1 minute will do it. This is coming up here with pod affinity. This is required during execution, and this is pod anti-affinity. Preferred scheduling. Okay. Yeah, this is pod affinity term is coming. Okay, so let's pick up this one. From where I have copied it. Preferred, right? Okay, so the key is disk type. No, not disk type. In this case, it is different, right? It is app. And value is Nginx. Okay, and let it be topologies like this one. Okay, I think this is something, okay, but this is coming here. Below the pod affinity, preferred one is the D. This is the way it will be aligned, and then I think this need to be realigned properly again. Weight is equal to 100. Okay, then pod affinity term. right? And then label selector, match expressions, key, this is array, operator, values, and its value. And topology is in line with the, I think it is in line with the label. So okay guys, so okay, now let me save this. I hope that there is no syntax issue. Save it, and kubectl apply -f pod affinity 1 preferred one. Let's deploy this. It is created now. So what is expected, that it should get deployed on the worker node who's having the label kubectl get pods -wide. Okay, and this is a worker one. So one of the pod Nginx 2 deployment has been got deployed on the worker one. So it is checking the weightage here, right? So preferred condition is working in the pod affinity as well. So
okay, so that means the node affinity taking priority over pod affinity.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But if you are thinking about if you are using preferred, then that time, so your application get deployed on the another node also, where even though that label is not present. That is the meaning of it.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so let's move ahead.
Use label selector instead of preference here.
Yeah, this is the difference. Yeah, label selector is there.
Okay. So we used to have preference instead of pod affinity term and label selector.
Correct. This is the one change that we need to observe now. Correct. I think rest of the things are same.
Yep, rest of the
correct.
yep, thanks.
Cool. Okay, guys. So now, what is a pod anti-affinity? I hope that you understood the pod affinity now. Pod anti-affinity is used by using the operator, because we have used one operator here is called as in, and in pod anti-affinity we have to use not in. That is the only change you will see, and here will be not anti-affinity, pod anti-affinity will be. So let's deploy that. So what I will do now, I will clear up this stuff, because we don't want to get kubectl. Let me clear the exercise which I have created. Kubectl delete -f. So this will get deleted. Oh, sorry. It is deleted now, right? And as well as there was another kubectl get deployments. Okay, so let's clean up this as well. Kubectl delete deployment called as Nginx 1 deployment. Okay, so only one deployment is available, which is called as Nginx deployment, and we want to use that one for the pod anti-affinity as well. Get pods -wide. So right now it is running on the worker 2. Okay, now let's do the take the example of the pod anti-affinity. So the pod which we are going to create now, that should not get deployed on the worker node who is having a pod whose label is app is equal to Nginx, like that. So pod anti-affinity dot, okay, let me see, is it the same thing? Yeah, it is the same thing. Now let us open the pod let's open the deployment called as Anti-Affinity 1 deployment 1. Okay, and you see here, this is the same to same. We are creating an Nginx 1 deployment, but see the affinity rule here. It is a pod anti-affinity, right? Sorry, if you are using a pod anti-affinity rule, you have to use the same operator called as in, right? So preferred during scheduling. So whatever the weightage is there, you can use here. And do not deploy the pod called as Nginx 1 pod on the worker where the pod is having label called as app is equal to Nginx. So let me save this and try to deploy it. kubectl. Already this pod is running on the worker 2. So let me deploy this. So the new pod should not get deployed on the worker 2. It should get deployed on something else. And can you see this is started on the worker 1. Even if I scale this application, kubectl, is it preferred one? So there is chance that it can go to the another worker node also. But let me scale up it. kubectl scale deployment. And this is my deployment name, Nginx 1 deployment. And replicas is equal to, let's say, 5. So already only one replica is running. I have just scaled up to the 5. And now see what has happened here. See, most of them have got placed on the worker 1 only, except one, because we have used preferred one. But if you use a required one, then it will not get deployed on the worker 2 where the pod label is app is equal to Nginx. I hope that that is clear now.
Ramesh, that
Can you
not
see?
in is not
Most
required.
of them have.
The not in is not required.
Not,
Rather, the anti-affinity, the tag
right.
is.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So
So
you
Ramesh,
have to
what
use.
exactly is the what exactly is the use of this operator? Looks like it will always be in.
No, there is an operator case called as not in also. That is also there.
Okay.
So if if I use here not in, yeah.
Where that
Okay.
not in will be used. Yeah.
So what will happen if I use right now here not in? Is it not in capital or small? That we need to check it. What will happen if I use this not in here? Pod anti-affinity.
Is it
Do
as good
not.
as pod affinity?
It will work
Yes.
as affinity. Okay.
Then
Yes.
it's
Correct.
not making any sense. I mean, you can have one tag as affinity, and then you can, change it based on operator whether in or not in, rather than having two different tags and two different key values.
If you want to use a couple of match expressions, in that case, I think that will be useful.
Okay.
You can say that where one key is my app is equal to Nginx and another key is something called as type is equal to SSD. If you use that kind of match expressions, so that time this not in and in will be helpful to you.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But I think this not in will not in and in it will hold good with the pod affinity, right? Because pod anti-affinity ultimately it will do the opposite of in.
Yes, yes. By
Yeah.
default, if by default you have to keep the same condition for pod affinity and pod anti-affinity also, because your purpose is that you have to deploy the pod where the condition is same, and you don't want to deploy the pod where condition is same, right? That is a pod anti-affinity. Do not get attracted towards the pod which is whose label is app is equal to Nginx. So we are using the same case for the pod anti-affinity as well. So because we don't want, but if I want to deploy on that one, it become pod affinity, right? So only case we can use where we have multiple expressions. Yeah, tell me.
Ramesh,
Ramesh,
what
can
was
you
the
please show some means multi-key values example? Means it is a single key value. If we provide some multiple key,
I have,
then how
okay,
should be the syntax?
I have not tested, but let me try out, guys. Not an issue. But this is 4 values, right? 4 YY.
Ramesh, can I have one basic question over here?
Mm-hmm.
Here we are not really defining anything towards the node affinity or anything like that. So how is the system pushing that onto worker tool?
No, weightage was given here. No?
So weightage was given, that is for the pod, not for the node though.
I don't know it. Even though when you say that, please deploy the pods on this particular. It is not saying that you have to deploy on this or that one. We are not defining anywhere like that in the pod affinity and anti-affinity. We are saying that get deploy or don't get deployed on the worker nodes where the pod is having these labels, right? So if you are using a weight, by default, weight is associated with the worker nodes only, not with the pods, right?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, let me check out this, guys, if this works. Not in. So I'm taking randomly whether these conditions are matching or not. Let me make it 5 and let me make it Nginx 2. Okay.
So Ramesh, who maintains this weight? Is it the API server which will check weight of all the resources and keep them in etcd database?
Yes, yes. Kubelet via Kubelet it will be maintained.
Okay, okay. Can this be overridden? I mean, it's a cheeky question. Let's say if
Oh,
admin wants to deliberately make or change some weight, can that be done?
yes.
Okay,
You are
thanks.
saying that administrator want to change it, right?
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's not the right
that
thing to do, first of all, because you are screwing up everything. But just in case, if let's say there's
mm,
some issue in the hardware and I really want to push things onto different node and things like that, can that be updated? I mean,
no,
will admin
anything
have
can
access
be
to?
anything is customizable. There is no problem, but that need to be checked properly. Otherwise, it will create issue.
Mm, okay, all right, thanks.
Ramesh, the one which you told, right? Anti-affinity with not in will become a affinity, but same way the pod
One,
affinity with
one,
that big thing. Okay, go ahead.
one second, Abhiram. Guys, this is working here. These two multiple values key parameters you wanted to check, right? So this is coming up.
But what is the outcome? I should be a
No,
single
outcome
one.
will check it. Outcome will check it because we have not thought about it, right? We
Yeah,
just
yeah,
thought
okay, no
about,
problem. Sorry for that.
right? We just thought about how to use multiple values. That's it. So key pair. So I just shown you.
Okay, so
Now
since
we
you
can
are
come to
adding
the
a
analysis purpose. Yeah.
since you have added multiple values, so can we add a weight also? Like in first case it is 100, second case because since it's array, we can give one more weight as 90. In that case, what will be the
But no, I think I think it won't take, right? Because there is no point in giving multiple weight, right? Which one it will take? Okay, let me check out whether this
since it's a
function.
array?
Okay. The other thing is for the
Yeah,
apps, probably we can define multiple apps over here, one with SQL, one with Nginx, like that. That way,
yeah, you have to use a
line operators.
different container. Yes,
Okay.
correct. Yeah, correct. Right. So if I want to use multiple container, if I use multiple containers here, then I can use this weightage for that containers, right? Multiple. Uh, basically, you are saying this is array, but this is a property of the array, and you can have multiple. This is the property of this particular pod affinity, right? So weight doesn't have the array. This has an array. So you have to use another value for that one, not same value. Same value it is giving error.
No, because since we have used key is an array, so we have again taken key as a disk, one has taken as app. So I was thinking in that direction.
No. Right. So this, no, you can, okay. So this way you are saying, right? Since here it is used as a key and key. Okay.
Yeah. What I
Hmm.
feel is like after this we can have one more minus weight as 200 and then pod affinity term again like that. I don't know. I'm just or
No, it
maybe
is not picking up. It is not picking up. I tried it. It is not picking up.
yeah, it's okay. We can skip that. Maybe we can have
Check
our
it later.
that. Yeah, thank you very much.
So Ramesh, what is the operator between these two keys, whether it's AND or OR? So we
Now
say
this is
key
something.
app is
Yeah,
this, and is it and or it's or what exactly?
it will be. It is definitely. This should be, both conditions should be matched. Anyone,
Yeah.
let's
So
say if this condition is matched, and if this
mhm.
condition is not matched, okay, so then it will take a there. Then it can randomly go anywhere.
Okay, so it's basically key one and key two and so on.
Yes, right.
And at operator level, you can define whether it's in or not in.
Right, correct.
All right,
So
thank you.
basically, see, pod anti-affinity is something which you say that deploy the pod now if the key is this one, and if key is not this one, right? So this is something which is normally not required, but you can specify. Okay, so let me delete this one, guys. We can definitely try with multiple stuffs here. It is a big story. Uh, Multiple things can come in our mind, but I have shown you the road, right? You know that how to play with this one. So please do play with this one, right? And you will get a different results, guys. You can explore more things about it. So please do that one. And I hope that you will do it. Only time should permit you. Okay, so now we have seen the pod affinity and pod anti-affinity, right? And we came to know that how this behaves, right? So the what would be the real scenario for this one? So real scenario will be application, like if you want to deploy the pods on certain worker nodes where similar kind of pods are already running there. So because you want to, let's say that, what example we can give for this one? This is a really good stuff when we can use a pod affinity and pod anti-affinity. So pod affinity and pod anti-affinity is nothing. We can use the case where the, let's say on this worker two pods are deployed. Some pods are deployed here, and who is serving some purpose, some application related stuffs are there, right? And it is serving to the one application to the customers, and you want to add something inside that as a new feature or new function, and you want that to be placed on the worker 2 only, right? In namespace can be same, but you want to deploy nearby that, and it becomes kind of a sidecar container to that container. That time it will be useful, this condition. So maybe a configuration parameters, or maybe a small input variable values, or maybe some kind of, you say, sidecar container which is going to monitor the behavior of the existing container. That time you can use this pod affinity stuff. So STO is the best example of it, right? Whenever you want to deploy any pod, when you want to observe any service, it deploys the pod here, right? In nearby to that. So deploy it in the same worker node, right? For the so that it can monitor the system level parameters as well as the application level parameters. You can do for anything. Only thing is that if you want to monitor the service or application which is placed on some worker nodes, and you want to monitor that one, so that time you can use this pod affinity and anti-affinity rules to deploy the pod as a sidecar container. All right, guys. So let me see if I have any question.
Sidecar container, it's a pattern.
Sidecar container is basically sits inside the existing pod. So if you
I
say
think if you
that,
have any dependence, sorry, if you have any dependency or if you want to add some extra support to an existing pod, probably.
right, yes. Yes, correct. That is what I was saying, right? So if you have a pod here and you want to deploy one more pod, which may need to take some information from this pod, or want to add some other pod inside it, or take some information from this one, or add some information inside this pod, that time we can use it.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you want to deploy a local database for this particular service.
No, means what I mean to ask is like, is it a sort of a design pattern, architecture pattern? Because sidecar, it's a name. So just trying to think on that, because if you're doing something, so if we are using sidecar pattern.
Yes, yes. Sidecar pattern, actually, we will see that in detail. But sidecar pattern is the another pod which is having a container which is used to monitor the container which is sit next to it. So next to it, right? So if you want to monitor the values inside the container which is sitting inside the next pod, or if you want to push inject some security inside it, or you want to push something called as some configuration values, you can do it through the sidecar container.
Got it, Ramesh. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Just to add, yeah, this is one of the pattern, especially in microservice world, especially when it comes to observability, monitoring, logging, and configuration. So there are
Right.
plenty of articles available. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. That is ELK stack, EFK stack, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the best match. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so let me check out the questions, guys, because people have asked some questions here. Okay, Piyush. Piyush, you are asking me this. Okay, so this guide is available. Okay, I will check that one. Now, Abu is asking, how do nodes get selected? Is it based on weight or what? Abu, I think it is clear, right? It depends on the, first of all, it checks on the labels and then it goes for the weight
Yes,
if it is preferred method.
yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Santosh, you are asking what is a weight? I think we have discussed, right? Weight is something which is calculated based on the number of resources. So each resource can be given some value, and summation of all the values called as a weight. So I will just show you guys the one sentence for the weight which is used in the Kubernetes documentation. So you see here. Okay, so how do you calculate the weight in Kubernetes? So you can see here and you can go this place. And there is some definition here about the weight. Let me search it so we can go fast there. Yeah, so what is a weight field here? You see, the weight field in the preferred during scheduling, ignored during execution is in the range of 1 to 100. This is I told you earlier, right? And how it is calculated? It is calculated for each node that meets all the scheduling requirements. What are the scheduling requirements? Resource request, required during scheduling, affinity expressions, or resource request is nothing but your CPU, RAM, and all other parameters which are has been okay. The scheduler will compute a sum by iterating through the elements of this field, doing uh, of this field and adding weight to the sum, right? So it is actually calculated from the existing information which is available in the worker node. What are the existing information, like resource request, or maybe it's scheduling affinity or expression, right? Or maybe it's CPU and RAM, maybe some other parameters. Okay, so when on one worker load more load is coming, that time another worker load gets a higher percentage, higher score, right? When another worker nodes you put some worker load on, that time that worker load goes down, that worker load gets less weightage, and the worker node who is having a less load will get a higher weightage. That is balancing kind of thing will happen, that competition will happen every time when you try to deploy the pod inside the worker node. And I hope that this is clear now, right, Santosh? Okay, so Anirban is asking what is the topology that is used in the work. That is also very good stuff. What is a topology, right? So topology is nothing but it is a well-known label which is assigned to your worker node. So what are the well-known labels if you want to see, you can see here, kubectl gate nodes -o show labels. So you can see here this well-known definitions for labels for this one. So here you can see one of the is called as architecture is AMD 64, and this is a master node. So you say that what is the role of this system is a master, right? So you can use that topology key here. Topology key is topology.kubernetes.io/zone if it is there. I think that zone will come when it is a native cluster which is deployed. So any one of this one can be a topology key. AMD 64, OS Linux. Maybe this is again the same thing. Yeah, this is again one more thing topology you can use, right? And what is the role of this one? Okay, so all this is nothing but guys a topology. So you can use well-known labels as a topology.
So what is the
Ramesh,
significance of this, Ramesh? Sorry.
Yeah, significance is really, really important. If you have a different set of the pools of the worker node in one cluster, let's say you have the 100 worker nodes and 50 of them are in the different zone or they are having a different architecture. 50 of them are in the different region and they are having the different roles.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
that time you can use a topology, right? I hope that is clear now.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
means it is picking up the what I say that the architecture which I want to select for the
Yes.
pod or node affinity.
Yes, yes. For the scheduling algorithm, to calculate the scheduling algorithm, topology key is used. Yes, it is used.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay, cool. So Anirban, what is the topology? I explained you, right? Linto preferred during scheduling ignored. Okay, I hope that you got it now, right, Linto? Okay, Surinder is asking when labels are not matching while creating pods will not create. If it is a mandatory case, Surendra, it will not create. It will go into pending state. If you are using required during execution, scheduling, ignore during execution, it will not get deployed. If you are using
Yes,
preferred one, it will get deployed.
yeah, just I'm sharing that information when I do the sessions. I saw that. So just I shared that
Okay.
information to everyone.
Okay, thank you. Oh, and thank you very much. Dan, I hope that this is solved now. Not it?
Not yet.
Not it. Okay, one second.
Mhm. I have sent it to support and waiting that they would come back to me. Mhm.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Thank you very much. I will check it. This is interesting problem statement. Okay.
Actually, we are seeing some type of an issues Microsoft because of the last 2 days we have an issue, big outage. Due to that reason, might be the Dan.
No. Mm.
It's been like that for quite a while since I subscribed into pay as you go. It just wouldn't allow me to create any virtual machines. It just gives me that error.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right, right. Okay, I will check that out. It is interesting actually. It will take time, but because if this is a problem, if it is outage related problem, then it will get fixed. I think it should not, uh, uh, outage should not be there for longer time. They
Yeah.
will be solving it quickly.
Mhm.
This is something related to blade. You choose the different region and try. Okay.
Yeah, I have tried different regions. Actually, when you click on add machine, you go to virtual machines, and it just gets you to that, directs you to that error. You do self-diagnostics, and it comes back, tells you everything is good, but you cannot create a virtual machine.
Okay, okay, okay. Good. Understood. Have you tried to raise the ticket with the support team of the Azure? You can raise a support ticket with them if you are facing this issue. You know
Gives
how
the
to do that?
support, send them a feedback, but nobody came back to me. I tried to call them, but the number is not going through for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Mm.
I can understand.
No, I think
Because
you can get into that Azure support portal and then open a ticket.
yeah,
I
that is what I
recently
was.
did that. Yeah, I recently did that and I got a response within 2 hours, hardly.
Okay, I'll try that again.
Yeah, okay,
Mm.
okay, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Anuj saying sorry, slightly off the topic. Have we covered candidate? No, we have not covered. I will be covering that one in the ingress controller for sure. Don't worry about it. Okay, Piyush. Okay, Anuj has given some sidecar can. Oh, I'm going to cover one session. I don't know when it will be, but Istio I'm trying to going to cover some in some sessions. I think once I get a schedule, I think you will also get that schedule. We are going to cover that. Can we have a quick difference between node and pod affinity and anti-affinity? Surendra, I think it is clear now, right? Or still you feel that there should be discussion on the difference
No,
between?
just a little bit of differences. I was a little bit confused about the node affinity and the pod affinity because when we gone through this YAML file, I didn't see much differences. So that's
Okay,
what
okay,
a
no problem. I think
quick line of any differences. That's it.
yeah, sure, not an issue. And then we'll take a break, guys. Uh, let me just give him a small glimpse of it. What is the pod affinity and node affinity? Node affinity is nothing but it's node affinity, right? The pods get attracted towards the node. So you have these two worker nodes, and you feel that my pod should get deployed on this worker too for whatever maybe the reasons are, not on this particular worker node. Okay, so you can use the labeling mechanism and that all required and preferred one, right? So that is nothing but a node affinity. It will get attracted toward the specific node. But what is the pod affinity? Pod affinity is nothing but you have deployed one pod inside this particular worker node. And what you say that please deploy one more app pod where existing pod is having a label is equal to app is equal to nginx. So then the selection of deployment of the new pod, the priority is given to the label of the existing pod, not the worker node.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Now it was clear, and I got the anti-affinity also.
Yeah, right. So that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys, that's fine. Great. So let's take a break of 10 minutes, and once we come back, then we'll discuss about the taint and tolerations. Take a 10 minutes break, guys. Come back. Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys. So before the break, we have seen the different affinity and node affinity and anti-affinity for like node selector. Then we have seen node anti-affinity. We have seen node affinity. We have seen pod affinity and pod anti-affinity. These are the couple of things we have seen. But what is this taint and toleration? So taint and toleration is something like this one. Let's say that this is your Kubernetes cluster, and in the Kubernetes cluster you have master node as well as you have worker nodes. Let's say you have 3 master worker nodes are there, and now due to some reason you don't want any pods to be scheduled on let's say worker 1. You don't want to schedule any pod on this worker 1, right? So what we can do here, we can use the node selector. Sorry. We can use the node selector, or you can do one more thing that is called as you can taint this node. So if you taint this node, then the new pods, it is similar like node selector policy, right guys? So then it is called as a tainting. So no pods will get deployed on this one, right? So pods will get deployed on this one, but not this one. So we'll see that what is the tainting and how to do that one. Okay, and what is the toleration? Toleration is nothing but you can deploy the pod with the toleration. You can deploy the pod on the tainted worker node also by providing the toleration to it. So how do we provide that one? What is the toleration means? What is the tainting means? Let us discuss about this and then we'll come back on the examples. So this is my taint and toleration topic. So what is taint and toleration? Node affinity has a property of pods that attracts them to set of nodes, right? We have seen this one as preferred way or hard requirement. That is a node affinity. But taints are exactly opposite to the node affinity, right? They allow a node to repel a set of pods that you don't want to put the pods on the specific worker node. If you don't want to put this pod on a specific worker node, you can taint it, right? So that is the meaning of it, right? So taints are the opposite. They allow a node to repel a set of pods. What is the toleration? Tolerations are applied to pods. And so let's say that 100 pods are there, and out of that one pod you want to deploy on that particular tainted node. So you need to write a toleration definition inside the deployment YAML file of the pod. And you need to tell to the worker node, look, please accept this pod. You can tolerate this pod. Taints and toleration work together to ensure that pods are not scheduled onto inappropriate nodes. Right? So how do we taint the node? So this is the command which you can see, kubectl taint node, and how you can tolerate the pod so that it can be deployed on the tainted node by adding this toleration definition. You can add here like this. So deploy the pod on the worker node whose toleration is disk type is equal to magnetic and effect is no schedule. Okay, so wherever you find the node whose effect is no schedule, that do not schedule any pod, and where is the label is used, disk type is equal to magnetic. If this particular tainting information is there, then deploy the pod on this one. Deploy the pod on the worker node where this toleration condition is exist. Okay, so let us discuss about what are the different toleration effects are there, tainting effects are there. Let me explain you that. Taint effect and operators. So effect, one of the effect which you see that no schedule is nothing but do not schedule the pods on the tainted node. New pods that do not match the taint are not scheduled onto the node, but the existing pod remains as it is. Okay, so if you have 50 pods running and you have applied the taint on that worker node, then new pods will not get deployed, but the existing pods will run as it is. Prefer no schedule. This is another effect that you can use, another keyword that you can use. What is the meaning of that? New pods that do not match the taint might be scheduled onto that node, but the scheduler tries to not to, and the existing pods on the node remain as it is. So what is the meaning of this? Meaning is that it is similar like hard limit and soft limit. So we use a preferred during scheduling and ignore during execution, right? Similar way we can do. Even the pod worker node is tainted, you can still deploy the pod in case it is used as a soft limit. No execute is nothing but what? New pods that do not match the taint cannot be scheduled on that node, and the existing pods on that node that do not have matching toleration are removed. So this is used for the eviction policy. If you want to evict the pods from specific worker nodes, you can do that. From the tainted worker nodes, you can use the effect called as a no execute. So no pods will get scheduled on that one, and the existing pods will get removed also. So that is what no execute means. So we'll do this exercise now. Let's try out that. Is there any other? Yeah, there are operators now. There are equal and exist. These two operators are there, and you can see what is equal means. The equal key value you picked, all three parameters must match. This is the default value. So the key is this type, value is magnetic, and effect is no schedule. All these three, if they are matched, then only that node will get, that toleration will get affected, right? Otherwise it won't. That pods will get uh, deployed on the particular tainted worker node if this toleration definition is defined inside the pod manifest. And what is exist then? Where it has gone? Okay. Exist key is nothing but similar like you see the operator equal, though there is a exist operator is also there. So if the, one second, I just know why it is, where it has gone. Okay, no problem, guys. Exist operator is nothing but it is an operator which is need to be defined inside the toleration part, and if that exists, only then that will get tolerated. So if your disk type exist magnetic, okay, then only don't schedule it, right? That is the meaning of it. So both the operators will be used for the same purpose. So let me see that the more information, I'll just give the more information about the exist as well. Okay, now okay, this is the way we have to write the pod that I have shown you. So what happens? No schedule taint means no schedule. If you use this command on the worker node, kubectl taint node worker one, this type is equal to magnetic and no schedule. So this is the label you can say that you are applying. This is the taint you are applying on the worker one. Then what happens? This is the way you can, if you deploy the pods, okay, with the container called as nginx, the pod C1 gets created and it will get created on the worker 2. It will not get created on the worker 1 because it is tainted one, right? You can create the set of the pods on the worker 2 and worker 3, but not on the worker 1. Once it is, no schedule is deployed, no pod will get deployed on the worker 1. That is a no schedule. Taint and toleration, no schedule. I think, let's say that this is again a same example. And where you write here that is tolerate the pod, okay, tolerate the pod who is having this particular information. So what will happen? This worker one is basically having a label called as, or taint called as, this type is equal to magnetic no schedule, and we are saying with the help of this YAML file, please deploy this one on the worker one. So tolerate this pod, even though there is a problem, but tolerate this pod. That is the meaning of this particular definition. So what will happen if the pod gets created? It will get created on the worker one also, even though it is tainted, because it is matching the toleration condition. That is the meaning of toleration, guys. So, okay, and no execute is nothing but what? You are given the tainting property as kubesctl taint node worker one destabilizing no execute. So you try to deploy the pod using this manifest. Then what will happen? What is happening here? Why this is coming like that? Okay, so what will happen, guys, here? On the worker one node, no pod will be scheduled, but all other pods will get scheduled here. But whatever the pods are there, existing pods here, they will also get evicted from this location, right? So that is the meaning of no execute. So do not execute any pod, do not deploy any pod, do not schedule any pod, as well as do not execute any pod on this worker node if it is tainted as like this one. Okay, so let's see these examples now, how taint and toleration can be applied. So below that, before that, let me see if anything is there. If you have explained cordoning, and no, I have not yet explained. It will be explained, don't worry. Uncordoning and cordoning, it is not explained. So when to use taint in real life? Maintenance window. If you want to do some patching, Ramesh, on the specific worker node, you can taint the worker node. Do not use it. Do not deploy anything on that one. Evict the pods from that one and do the maintenance work, and then you can bring back the pods if at all you want, or you can deploy the new pods on the tainted nodes. You can remove the taint after that one. So that is a real-time example. Okay.
Why we have used the word kind equal to pod?
Sorry, why did you? I didn't understand that. Why did you?
No, like in the code, I can see kind equal to pod, cannot it deployment. So is it
yeah,
like
you can use the deployment also. There is no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ramesh, when the pods are evicted from the tainted node, do they go on to another worker nodes, or do they sit there?
No, ideally, it should go on the another worker node if the conditions are met.
Okay. So can we have multiple taints?
We can have multiple taints.
But for the pods to get onto that node with taints, so it should have all the tolerations that have the taints, right?
Right.
Let's say I have two taints, and the node pod also should have two tolerations. If any one of it is missing, it won't get onto that node.
Correct. It should be, both should be available, and one to one.
How can we check how many taints are there for a particular node?
That I will show you. That I will show you. Yeah.
Ramesh, sorry, but I could not quite understand taint. So, wondering if you can just quickly repeat it.
No, taint is nothing but you can avoid scheduling on the pods on that particular worker node.
But that
Repelling the
we can
Yeah, that is
already do that
actually
using
affinity.
yeah.
node anti-affinity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. But see, existing pods are running over there. It will not get disturbed with the help of tainting as well. Tainting is almost similar like node anti-affinity, but the point here is that we can completely cordon up the tainted node. You can uncordon the tainted node. It has a more advantages over the anti-affinity and node anti-affinity, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think we will be able to yeah.
No,
It's
but
an
then this
advanced
again raise a
solution.
question saying that when to use anti and when to use taint then.
Okay.
What more power does taint have over node affinity and all those stuff?
See, basically with the help of anti-affinity or node affinity, specifically anti-node affinity, there is no power comes for the eviction power is not there inside that. Eviction power of the pod comes only with the taint. Let's say
Ramesh,
that
can we
you
put
want
it,
to.
Ramesh, can we put it this way? Affinity and anti-affinity are the properties of the pod, where pod decides where to go, right?
No, no, no,
And
no.
taints are properties of nodes, where node decide which pods to take.
No, pod will never decide where to take, right?
See, let me tell you one more time again. So pod affinity, and node affinity and node anti-affinity is nothing but to deploying the pod on these, or don't deploy the pod on that specific worker node. So it will select the node whether that pod has to be deployed on that worker node or not. Okay. And what is the meaning of tainting? Tainting is also doing the same. But what is the additional property tainting has? It can help you to get the pods evicted from one tainted nodes. That is not possible in the node affinity or node anti-affinity rules.
What is evicted means like here?
You can remove the pods from this particular worker node. The running pods, if you want to remove from them, how you can remove it? By
Means,
keeping the cluster.
Existing one.
it means
So
like
this one is disc type magnetic. That means the worker one will have all the discs magnetic, or what is this?
This is a label. This is just label. I can use this is equal to Wadapa also here. So it is just label.
Okay, pod
Ramesh,
level. Okay.
yeah, Ramesh, what is the scenario where we use Taint? Is it like we're decommissioning something, bringing the node completely down, moving the new pods
Yeah,
to new nodes, something like that, or?
maintenance. During the maintenance work, you can
Mm.
use the tainting property.
But will it not be done automatically? Let's say if there's an issue with the node and node is struggling, then will Kubernetes not all automatically, bring the node down, spin up the new node, and move all the pods to the new node?
No, that will try to keep the desired state, maintain the desired state. That is the job of the Kubernetes
Okay,
cluster, right? The
right.
problem is that if the node goes down, the
Mm,
Kubernetes cluster kubelet will also go down. How the Kubernetes
right.
cluster will come to know that my pods are down? It will
Because there's
not
no
do.
communication with the node.
Correct, correct. So that
Hmm,
can create a problem. So we will see
okay.
the example, I think, and that will make you
Okay.
little bit in the
And
understanding.
these
No, but
all
cool.
worker nodes get this information, which is to be accepted or which is to be tainted.
What you are saying, Arun? I just missed
Yeah,
that one.
basically, when you tell kubectl taint node worker
Mm-hmm.
one, so you are
Mm-hmm.
communicating also worker two and worker three.
Big no, that doesn't require to inform to the worker 2 and worker 3. It will be informed to the worker 1 in itself only. Kubelet of the worker 1 will be
Oh, okay,
informing.
okay. So on the runtime, this is not on the runtime. Okay.
Right. Okay.
No, but
Ramesh,
sorry, Ramesh. So when we say it for maintenance purpose, so the question is, see, suppose if you are running at 100 deployment, so we have to go and modify all the 100 deployment, right? Is it practical to do that way, or
No, no,
what
no.
is
That is
the?
the no, no. That is not the case actually here. The case is that you have, let's say, 100 pods running here, right? And you have some system pods also like kubectl, kube proxies there, or some other pods are also running here. Okay, and now what you want to do, you first of all you want to take what is your objective, that you want to take this node into maintenance. Let's say, for example. So what will be your action, course of action? That first thing is that you will stop taking the new nodes, sorry, new pods. I'm so sorry. You have to stop deploying the new pods on the worker one. So first of all, taint it. Okay, and once you taint it, then there are certain pods are running inside that you want to evict that also. So you can actually write a rule for the eviction here, so that automatically all the pods will get distributed to other worker nodes.
And then
Right?
there'll be no traffic to worker one in that case.
There
We
won't
have to stop.
be, yes, there won't be any traffic to the worker one, and then you complete the maintenance work and then start deploying the new deployment on this worker one. That is the case where we use it. So now let's see by example.
But Ramesh, like since we are doing a maintenance, so is it like the node, the pod which we have evacuated, it has been deployed on worker 2 and 3. We want to get it back on worker 1?
Not required as such, because they are enjoying there, and their worker 2 and worker 3 are having enough resources to maintain that. Unless and until you do not write specifically that go back to it, then you have to evict the worker 2 again, nodes on the worker 2. So that creates a problem, right? So let it be that one. So if you want to push again back, you can scale down and you can again scale up. The pods will start coming on the worker.
Okay.
So there are ways to get it back. Okay. All right. So let's take the now. Let's finish the topic first. That has been important instruction, and I believe I forgot that, right? So let me go for the deployment first, guys. Let us do this practically. kubectl git deployments. I hope that everything is now. No, it is not deleted. kubectl delete deployment called as nginx deployment. And let me delete this as well, so that we have a fresh machine. There are no pods running, right? So we can understand it better. Okay, so everything is getting terminated now. So I have two nodes, right? kubectl get nodes. So what is their current property of tainting property? So I can check it, kubectl. If you want to see their current tainting property, describe node called as a master and pipe grep -i taint. So you should be able to see that why the pods are not getting deployed on the master node, because master node has been tainted like this one. So do you see the taint on the worker node? Look at this. There is no taint on the worker one, and that's why pods are getting deployed on the worker one, and as well as see the taint on the worker two. There is no taints, right? So since it is on the master node, if I remove this taint from this one, the node pods will start getting deployed on the master node also. And I am going to show you when we are going to coordinate and uncoordinate the systems. That time I will show you how to do that. You will be able to deploy the pods on the master node also. I'll show you that. How to now taint the system? kubectl taint. Which node you want to taint? Let's say that you want to taint the worker one. And what is the property you want to use? You want to use the property that is called as, let me use the example, because what is the value we have passed on? Disk type is equal to, okay, let me take the example from this only. Okay, so we can see here disk type is equal to magnetic. This is a, yeah, we'll use the same thing so that it will be easy for us to use the same YAML files. So you can see that it shows that worker one has been tainted now. It says that no schedule. So kubectl create deployment called as app1 right? And hyphen image is equal to nginx. So I'm deploying a new application over here, and you can see that since this particular node has been tainted, which one, worker one. So normally pods will get deployed on worker 2 only. So let me scale up this kubectl scale deployment app1 hyphen replicas is equal to 5. And now see that application has been scaled, and see all of them have been now running on the worker 2 because my worker 1 is in the tainting condition. That's why it is not deploying the in further pods, right? So now if I want to remove the taint, how we can remove the taint, guys? You can use this command kubectl taint node. Just use minus, and you can see the worker node has been untainted. And if you try to find out again the information or describe the node, you can see there is no taint. Okay, and now if I try to scale up the application to the, let's say, 8 replicas, you should be able to see now on the worker 2 as well as worker 1 because the taint has been removed. Okay, so let me bring back the taint again on the worker 1 so that we'll see that how now existing pod behaves. So tainting is done by like using this command. Let me describe this, and you see that it shows that taint is equal to disk type is equal to magnetic and no schedule. So but have we labeled this particular worker 1 as disk type is equal to magnetic? Kubectl, but yeah, it has been tainted, right? So it has been labeled like that. Kubectl gate nodes hyphen show labels. This is my worker 1, and see this worker node has these labels are there, right? This type is equal to SSD and this one, but the taint is given is this type is equal to magnetic colon no schedule. This is the label as well as taint has been given. So if I use kubectl describe worker 1 only and try to get the information, more information about this one, you can see here the value of the taint. Somewhere it will be available. Okay, so value is about, this is a condition, this is the address, this is the capacity, and you can see here this is a taint. So label and taint is different, guys. So it is tainting with the help of label with the, and it is giving the label called as this type is equal to magnetic, and what it is saying, no schedule. Let me taint the existing node along with the no execute policy, right? You don't use the labels, right? For that one, you use the taint value. So let me try to now use the another. Okay, so what I will do, I will just remove this taint from this one now. Okay, so still the pods are running, right? The pods will not have any issues. So pods are running on the worker 1. There are almost 3 pods which are running on the worker 1. Now what I want to do, I want to taint again this worker node, but this time I want to use some different value. Instead of no schedule, I want to use no execute. Okay, so that is the no execute. This is the property I'm using. This is the value I'm giving it to the tainting. And now you can see that it is tainted you can find out more information about the taint. That is, this type is equal to magnetic, no execute. No schedule is nothing but it will not schedule the further pods. But what has happened? Let's see that with the no execute command. Do you some changes? Do you see some changes, guys, here? All the pods have started running on the worker 2. So that means everything has been evicted. Which pod was running on the worker 1? This pod was running, right? Look at it, it has been changed. New pod has been come up. Yes, new pod has been started on the worker 2. So whenever you use a keyword called as a no execute, so all the pods, existing pods, will also get evicted from the worker 1 tainted node, and it will start on the another node.
Can you give pod wide for worker 1 here? Will it show anything? Or?
There are no pods on the worker 1. You can see here. Nothing is there on that.
Okay.
Ramesh, can you add another taint to worker 1 and list all the taints?
Let me describe it, because it might be picking up only one line in the grep command. Let me see.
So can we pick multiple lines in the grep command instead of only one?
1 second. That we'll see, but it is showing the 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what will happen? Neither it will not. Basically, it will not schedule any pod now on this one. And if any pods are there on that one, it will get started on the another one. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Now we have to use a toleration. Now we have understood the two values, right? No execute and no schedule values. Now we want to write a toleration so that the pod will get scheduled on the tainted node. So how do we do that? So let me see that if I have a script for it, guys. So I have a toleration here, toleration pod. Let's try to, yes, this is a script. So vitt1.pod. Okay. Dashboard 1.yaml, and you can see here we are trying to deploy the new pod or deployment as well. You can use the deployment also, guys. There is no problem. But inside inside the container, you have to write this property toleration. And where you want to deploy this one, where this type is equal to magnetic and no schedule is the effect is no schedule. But there is one more key value is assigned now. Let me first of all try with this one, and then we'll add another one. Let's see what happens. See, guys, worker 1 is having now two values of the taint. One is no schedule and no execute. Both of them are already applied on the worker 1. And now I am using only one value, toleration value, to deploy the pod inside the worker node. So let us see that whether it gets deployed or not. It is created, but where it is created? kubectl get pods -wide. It has got created on the worker 2. It has not created on the worker 1. Actually, we wanted to create this on the worker 1, but it has got on the worker 2. Why? Because there is another condition is there, right? Taint condition, which we need to specify it inside this one. So let's see that how we can specify. So we have understood that how we can use one key, but how to use multiple keys. I think this will help us to understand. So this type is equal to magnetic only, but effect is no execute. Let me save it. And now try to deploy. Oh, but I need to change something here, right? I need to change the pod name. Let's see whether it runs or not. It has created, that means it is taking a multiple key values. Now let's see that where it is now getting running. Yeah, see here, it has started on the tented node. So the condition is satisfied and the pod is started on the worker one. Is that clear? Okay, let me see if you have any questions. Okay. So Partha is asking from where we get these parameters, or how do we know what parameters need to be passed? Partha, can you? I think this type is equal to magnetic can be anything. Key and value can be anything. Right? Only thing is that you have to pass this no schedule and no execute values. They are standard one.
Okay, Ramesh.
Okay. Right. Anuj is asking, what if a node is tented, no schedule, fine, and you deploy a new pod without using a toleration? Will the pod be not deployed on the untented node? It will get deployed on the untented node, Anuj.
Okay, cool, thanks. My another question was, taint is applied using the labels, right, Ramesh? So we can have n number of labels. Using the label, we apply the property of taint, right?
Yeah, basically, kind of label, you can say that. In the taint itself, labeling is there. You cannot use the label of the node, worker node, as a taint label. You have to define it differently.
So when we say disk type, is it a keyword or we can have anything?
Key can be anything.
So when,
This type is a
okay.
key, and whatever the value you are passing, but you have to pass that with the no schedule or no execute.
Correct, correct. All right, yeah, cool, thanks.
Okay, I have answered the question of the Partha as well, right? And Anush, I have answered your question as well about the label.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Piyush, okay. You can drain the, yeah, we can drain that one, yes. So, Saladin, we can drain it. So we'll see that in the coordinating and uncoordinating system. So right now we are not able to exit the pods or evict the pods which are system pods. Sometimes you need to evict the system pods also. That time this toleration and tainting will not help. That time you have to coordinate the systems. Right, Sultan, Saladin? I hope that you understood that.
What is the system pod? Can you repeat that?
System pods are your kube proxy pods. On the worker node also they are running, right? kubectl gate pods -oy.
No, but what will be the need for that to play with the system pod? When actually we
No, if you want to upgrade core DNS or if you want to upgrade the etcd master databases to some new version, you can do that.
okay.
You can see some of the worker one. This kube proxy is running on the worker one. This kube proxy is running on the worker two. And if you want to evict this pod also, how do you evict that? So that for that purpose, you have to use a draining. Okay, Bolan is saying how to remove taint node after done. Let's see maintenance. Oh, okay. I think I have shown you. I hope that that answer is, you got your answer, right, Bolan?
I got. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Anirban, when do we use a pod? When do we should use toleration? Okay, toleration is used when you want to specifically deploy the pod on the tainted node. That time we use it, toleration. Venkatesh, no schedule is nothing but do not deploy any pod on the, henceforth do not deploy any pod on the that tented node, but the running existing pod will continue to run. But if you use a no execute, then it will not allow you to schedule the new pods, as well as it will evacate all the pods from current worker node to the tented worker node to another worker node. That is the difference between no schedule and no execute.
Okay, in your configuration, like in your pod 1.yaml, you used both the labels, right? No schedule and no execute.
Right.
And we could see that there is a pod 2 scheduled on worker 1. I was a little bit confused with that.
Right now, is it? 1 second.
Ramesh, I have a question.
No, that is after the toleration actually. I have added the toleration.
I have a question, Ramesh, about the last pod you just created on the toleration. You put the no scheduling, the no scheduling and the no there was no execution and not toleration. No schedule and not execute. How does the pod being deployed since we said there's no execution, and when you create the pod and the pod was running? I don't understand that.
Yeah, let me try out. What is the meaning of toleration? Toleration is nothing but if this worker node has this tool toleration for tenting, I have used this two toleration for tenting. Okay, these two keys and values are there on as a toleration on that on this particular worker node. That's why it got deployed on the worker one. Venkatesh. See here, kubectl describe node worker dash 01, and if you see the taint values here, look at this taint value. Both of them are there, and that's why I have used as a toleration in the pod definition. If I remove any one of them, so then that pod will not get deployed on it. It will get deployed on the some other machine.
If I understand, that means with the Taint, the application can still be deployed on the node, right?
Yes, with the toleration we can deploy the application on the tainted node as well.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys, let me see if any of the questions are left out. Partha's question has been answered. Piyush, okay, Saladin, Poland has answered. Ashish, it is only for the nodes, not for the pods. Is the taint applicable for just nodes or pod? It is only for the nodes. Okay, toleration can be added. Yeah. Taint
So
and
it's only
tolerance.
for you to select which node we need to put the pod on. That's where it is used, right?
Right, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, Partha, again, taint and with tolerance you mentioned exclude the pods on the node. Still the effect in the YAML file plays a role. Partha, can you ask me this question? What was that question? Or is it clear now?
I think that is clear, Ramesh. So because the parameters, the key value pair is the one what I was asking specifically. Yeah, I got it clarified.
Okay, thank you. What is the difference between tolerance and node affinity, as it sounds similar? I hope that now I answered that question, right, Anirban? Tolerance and node affinity.
Yeah, Ramesh, get it.
Okay. Ramesh Prajapati went to use Taint in real time. I hope that is also clear, right?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I hope that I answered all the questions. Uncoordinating and coordinating, we'll see, guys, that on. But I hope that this is clear now. Okay, thank you. So what is not clear, Venkatesh?
I'm a little bit confused with no scheduling and no execute. You mentioned both things. Anyways, Ramesh, no worries. I'll go through the recording one more time and get
Okay,
it
no
done.
problem.
If I still have questions,
No,
I'll
it
get
is,
back to you.
yeah, sure. No problem. Thank you. So specifically, no schedule is just don't schedule on that one, and no execute is nothing but whatever right now executing on the worker node, just get remove that from that worker node.
Yes,
It will,
but when you mentioned no schedule, how did it schedule when you mentioned both the labels like no schedule and no execute? But still it could come back and schedule on the worker one, right? Did it overwrite that?
no. That is a toleration added. See here. If I don't add toleration, the pod will not get deployed on this worker one.
Okay.
Means
Okay.
Ramesh,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, means if we give here one taint value, means at the when we are mentioning on the worker node, and means only no schedule, and after that we provide only that as a toleration, then also the pod will be deployed.
No,
Am I
pod
right?
will be deployed, but that will be deployed on the worker too.
Okay.
Because both toleration conditions are not matching.
Oh, it
No,
should. It is like
means I am giving only
both
one taint value. Means
Now it
not
will not. No, it see now it will not start on the worker one. It will start only on the worker two.
yeah, because there are two taint
See?
values. Yes,
Right.
if there is only one taint, then and toleration is also one, then the pod will be scheduled.
Yes. Now if I remove the yes, it will be
Okay,
correct.
that
Yeah.
will.
It should not be no execute only. It should if any value you pass on the as a taint on the worker node, and if that toleration is specified in the pod definition, it will get deployed on the tainted node. Sorry.
Yeah, that it's clear my confusion.
Ramesh, uh, this TT pod 3 is now on worker 2, but we give the toleration as no schedule, right? Or was
Right.
it no execute? So since we give it no schedule and worker 1 has both no schedule and no execute, that is why it did not get deployed on worker 1,
Worker.
right? So
Correct.
if both were there, then it will go on worker 1, right?
Correct. Now you see here now
Okay.
both toleration I have given, and I am using TT pod 4 now.
Okay, so in order for a pod to get deployed on a tainted worker node, all the
Mhm.
tolerations should be meshed.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
AND operation should satisfy, right? Not OR operation. Okay.
No. All conditions should be. It is and
Yes,
and.
both.
It is 1
Yeah,
1.
yeah. I
Yes.
mean, both values should.
Yes. Correct. Now see where this will get deployed now. What I am doing here. Is it correct? TT pod 1.yaml. Huh. Now where it will get deployed, because I have given the both conditions
Worker
toleration
one.
and worker one. Correct.
Worker 1.
Dekho, see now here it has gone on the worker one. I hope that now this is clear. Right, Venkatesh?
Hello, Ramesh. There are multiple workers, right? Worker 1, worker 2, worker 3, worker 4.
Hmm.
So, suppose I want to deploy worker 4, then how it is possible?
You want to specifically deploy on the worker 4? Santosh?
Yeah.
Then you have to define the tenting value. Let's say that you want to deploy some pods on the worker 2 only. So what I will do, I will write like this one. Right now my my worker node is not intended. Worker 2 is not in tent mode, right? kubectl describe node worker 2. Is it correct? Yeah, worker 2 pipe grep -i taint. So it is not tainted. taints are none, right? So now you want to deploy the pod only on the specific worker 2 only. Then you have to taint it first, or you have to use a pod affinity, node affinity. So I'm going to now taint it. Taint node worker 02 and which value you want to give. Let's say you want to give dish is equal to, what is that? Okay, let's say dish is equal to vada pav and colon no execute. So this is the taint value I'm passing. Now you can see that now taint is dish is equal to vada pav no execute. Now specifically you want to deploy the pod on this worker node, then what should you do? You have to vi, let me open the pod1.yaml, and here let me use the pod name as 5 tty5, and you want to deploy this on the worker 2 only. So then this pod should match the toleration condition. And what is the toleration condition? Is a dish is equal to vada pav. And what is the effect? I think I have given no execute. Okay, now let me save this, Santosh. I hope that you are getting it. And kubectl apply -f tt-pod1.yaml. So where it should have now got placed, Santosh, on the worker 2, kubectl get pods -o wide. Typo.
Ramesh, it's G.
Yeah, typo. Yeah. Can you see this pod has been started on the worker 2? Okay, guys.
Yes, Ramesh.
Ramesh,
How different is this from node selector? We can even use node selector, right, to deploy the pod on the particular node, specific node.
Yes, I think I have told earlier also, but let me tell you one more time that node selector affinity and node anti-affinity doesn't have the facility of evicting the pods from worker node. It can deploy. It can get affected. It can get affinity or anti-affinity can be applied, but you cannot exit the existing pods from the worker nodes. That is not possible with the help of node affinity and anti-affinity.
Okay.
You need to do the tainting for that.
Ramesh, the pods that are in pending state are evicted because of the new taint that we applied to worker 2.
Correct.
Right? So
because
this should be
no
going
execute
to another node, right? Why are they still in pending state? This should be deployed to another node, or they will be still staying in pending state.
The reason is that I have removed the it was supposed to be on the worker 1, worker 2, right?
Yes, they are supposed to be on worker.
Yeah, and on worker 2 I have applied the taint.
I think both are tainted, yeah.
And that is and they are and the taint which I applied is a no execute. I need to remove the taint.
So no. Before doing that, so this should be going to worker 1, right? Even worker 1 has taint.
No, worker 1 has 2 taints.
Okay. So can we remove taints on worker 1? That way we will see if these pods go and sit on worker 1.
Then we have to remove the both taints on the worker. Okay, so that
worker 1, right?
Yeah. So that is a disk, right?
Disk type, yeah.
Now it is untainted.
Is there another taint?
It started working on the worker 1.
They are going on to worker 1. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is what I want to check. So since they are being kicked out from worker node 2 because of the taint, will they be created on another node without any taints or not?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely.
Ramesh, is there a way to create a new node if all the nodes are tainted, all the available nodes are tainted? Then fine, go ahead and create a new node or nodes, or that will be covered later on. Okay,
Autoscaling. Right.
but that will be covered later on, right?
Yeah, how to add the master nodes and how to add the worker nodes and
Yeah,
how to
all
scale
right.
them. That we'll see. We'll try to
Okay.
add that part into the autoscaling also.
Yeah, Ramesh, what is the limit for worker nodes? Means how many worker nodes can be created? 1,000,
As
right?
per
I guess.
no, it can be more than that. It can be more than that. I think that time one link was shared by somebody, right? We can create thousands of nodes also, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's there on the Kubernetes side. Yeah.
Yeah. As a standard node, I think it is not only 100, you can have more than that. I think 1,000 if I'm not wrong. 1,000 or 5,000 also. I have to check it.
Yeah, 1,000.
Hmm?
The master node would be one, right? I guess. There will
No,
be
no,
multiple.
no, it can be multiple. Basically, you should have master nodes something like 3, 5, 7. I think we will discuss that in the cluster architecture discussion, but you should have odd numbers 1, 3, 5, and 7, something like that. You should not use, even you can use more than 7, but then it will create a problem. So keep up to 7 only. Master node, I'm talking.
Yeah. I've added the link which is from Kubernetes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Thanks,
If you,
Venkatesh. Thanks.
okay, so I hope that everybody has understood about the taint and toleration. Is that clear? Everybody has understood about the affinity and node affinity and anti-node affinity and pod anti-affinity. Hope that is clear now. So now, first of all, I need to remove the taints. So how do I do that? Let me remove the taints, guys, from both nodes. Anirbad is saying till now clear. Okay, that is a good answer, Anirbad. Okay, all right. So let me delete this one, guys. Keep that and delete pod. I hope that whatever the topics I am delivering right now, the discussions are understood by you, right? Hope it is not too fast. Hope it is not too slow. Hope it is not confusing. Guys, are you happy with the sessions which are going on?
Yes, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a bit confusing. It's a bit difficult.
Is it because of my explanation or is it really confusing only?
It's not your explanation. It's really confusion. It's a new
No,
technology.
but yeah, but I will tell you one thing. This is Santosh, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
no
Nice.
worries, Santosh. No worries, Santosh. But whatever the points you are getting confused, please do ask me. I will try to clear it out.
Ramesh, quick shout out for you. It has been so good so far, and you have a lot of patience because dealing with more than 50 odd people is really not easy. And it's just that we have couple of questions on our way, and we were sort of parking them aside. So I'm not sure whether someone is keeping a track of them, but yes, I'm keeping a track of my questions, and I'll be raising them as and when we go
Yeah.
to the right topic.
Yes. Please don't. I'm the kind of person who would like to always give the answers of all the questions. But only one thing is that I always forgot everything. I don't keep anything on my head when I go to the when I
That is really
end the
good
day.
information.
That is the habit. That is the habit I have.
Yeah, that is a good thing. You always forget everything.
Why to keep in mind?
Just kidding.
That is great, Ramesh, because you are very creative. Creative people have this kind of problem. They
No,
will
guys.
all forget and new things always come into mind.
Right. True. That is good words. But sometime what happens, because I am clearing here in front of all the people that I always forget everything. So in case I don't, if I have not answered your question, don't ask again and again. That's fine, no problem. I will not get irritated with that. But make sure that you get clear with your doubts.
Yeah,
At the end of
that is your highness. Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, because at the end of the day, you are here to understand the understand the Kubernetes properly, and that is the objective of yours, right? And it is important that you should understand each and every piece of it. It's fine if you ask multiple times, but ask me. Don't assume anything. Get it clear. If certainly if some things are there which I am not clear with it, that's fine. I will go home. I'll study it again. I'll come back. But make sure that guys you and ask the questions.
Yeah, even without asking, also you are extensively explaining. So sometimes we are getting the answers itself. So we are not ask. I am not asking the questions which because of a long discussion, varieties of variations, so like that. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah, Ramesh, that you're applying that, that command kubectl apply -f. F stand for
Mm-hmm.
force or file?
File, not force.
-f.
File. It is file.
Okay. And what about this kubectl get ports -o wide? What is the -o wide?
Hyphen O wide is to see the more information about it. Because if you see the command kubectl get pods, you'll get only limited. No, there is no pod now. You'll get only limited information, right? Let me show you this one. kubectl. I'm just running one pod. How to create a pod? Can you tell me? What's your good name, Santosh? Can you tell me the command now? I forgot the command. How to create the pod? Right. This is the answer. Okay. So you can see here now. If I want to get the pod, I'm going to take a test of everyone, online test. Be ready for that. Kubectl get pods. So you are getting some information, but I'm not getting the information on which worker node it is running. What is the IP address of it? So if I want to find out that, I can use just -o wide. So you'll get extra information about the pods, right? You can see it is showing now worker one, what is the IP address, when it is started. All that information you can find out. That is
But
-o
yeah,
wide.
yeah. What stand for -o? Any idea? Means it is a command. Like
-o. Is it output? Is it output, right? I can use output word also here.
I think it is option
Yeah,
wide.
output. It is output. If
So
I
I
use
think
option, I think option will not work. It will give the error. It is output. So
okay,
thanks
okay.
asking for this question, Santosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's a basic question, but yeah, we should know.
Yeah, that
Ramesh,
is
we should have
this
this
question
kind
can
of
be asked in the interview.
question.
Huh?
I think we should have this kind of
That's
every now and then.
that's all.
It
That's all.
will be a refresher for everyone.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
How to create a deployment from the command line? If anybody would like to tell me the command, you can type in the chat box. Don't say, otherwise there will be a lot of chaos. You can type in the question chat box that how to create a deployment by using the command line, not by using the YAML file. Please do that quickly. Those who know the answer of this question, don't copy paste. Type it. How to create a deployment. Let me see who wins the race. Okay, Rishi. Good. Yeah, Praveen. Praveen, replicas will work inside the kubectl create command.
I guess, Ramesh, I tried it twice.
It will work. It will work for sure.
It will
Yes.
work. Okay. Thank you. Forgot to add image, right, Rishi? Okay, no problem.
So, Ramesh, I have a question. I forgot the name of the pod which I deployed. For example, I got a pod like Nginx happens to blah, 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 blah. And it is having a very big number, and I got multiple replicas running. If I want to delete them, How can I do that?
You need to give the name. I need to give the name, Ramesh.
Yeah, you
People
have to give the name.
some
Name
name.
is it.
I don't think you need to specify name. I think you can just give some random name. You don't need to give
Yeah,
hyphen name equal
Yeah,
to
yeah.
this is
I think
test, right? Yeah.
test and give hyphen replicas equal to 2. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this is I have a doubt in this one. Let me check out. Hmm, this is not coming up. When you use a scale up, that time it will work. No.
Okay.
Yeah, truly, it is correct, right? No, replicas, don't use replicas. While creating, if you use replicas, it will not work. You have to use scale command. If you want to scale up, you have to use scale here. Kubectl scale deployment, like that one. Okay, good. So scale up the replicas and see how it gets created. Replicas also. You have to use command kubectl. Instead of this one, you have to use scale command. Which deployment, and that time you have to remove the replicas. Sorry, name of the image. Now it is test one is not found. I think test is there. Yeah, it is scaled. How to create a YAML file out of it? Which command we will use?
Dry
I
run?
want to
Edit.
yes. So I want to create a YAML file of this particular.
No, I
Let's
think
say
-OYML, output to YML.
Nginx, right? So I will use a dry run because when I use a dry run, this command will not get executed. Okay, but if you use, yeah, and if
Client?
you use, sorry,
Yep.
now this will not execute the command, but you will get the nice YAML file. And if you remove this dry run command from this one, this will get implemented as well as you will get the output. So this is the difference. Huh? Make sure that you use a dry run in case you want the YAML file, proper YAML file. Okay. So it gives you the small version of the YAML file. And I think this is pretty cool, right? In the examination also, you can use this one. This dry run doesn't execute the command. It just creates the YAML file for you. And now this is very easy to change the values, right? Because it is small. But if you don't use a dry run, if you miss this dry run, then it will get executed. And it will create a huge, big YAML file. And then it will get completely confusing. Right? Okay.
And but in the exam, how to remember all those commands?
How
You
to?
know, how to recall or how to remember all those commands, in the exam, basically, or in the interview as well.
Ramesh will say that practice and practice.
That is the one answer is for sure. But then you have to do the
Still,
practice. If you
still,
don't know,
still.
yeah, still see. Okay. You know that one there is a command called as a kubectl and you forgot the command which you don't remember. What should I use after this one? So you want to see the list of the commands. You can see here. Kubectl, expose is there, run is there, set is there, explain is there. Now, by looking at this, you may understand, oh, I just need to use the command called as the cordon. Okay, so what should I do here? Kubectl cordon --help. So you have forgotten the commands after this as well. But this cordon will also help you to, this command will also help you to find out other options too. Oh, you need to specify the node name. Okay, then you can give the node here and then you can do that all the stuff. So this is the way, in case you at all you are not able to remember the command which you want to use it. So up to that command which you remember, you just type that and put the --help command. It will guide you for further commands as well. And then in the examination, you have the kubernetes.io. Just go there, copy this command, go to the kubernetes.io file and try to just search here somewhere documentation. And now you forgot the right kubectl cordon. Just type that. it will fetch the results for you. Okay, go to this location and see here. These commands are there, right? All the information about the kubectl cordon is there. Okay, this is the easiest way if you forgot any command. But
And also,
Okay.
yes,
So there would be around,
the one which you use, right? Minus O is a short, and minus is a O, and then hyphen output. So if you put a description, it is one hyphen, right? That's how it is, or and then if
right,
you put
it is correct. Yeah, it is correct. If you want to use just one H only instead of help, I can use dash H. And if I want to use here hyphen H, it will not work. I need to give help here.
okay, and this
That
is
is
okay.
okay, guys. So I think we tried to explain today many things.
So anytime you are going to explain about Istio?
No, I will check with the Piyush and their team that when
Okay.
they have planning, you can. Yeah, cheat sheet is there. Surendra, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. So let's now stop the session. We have completed today's time. Yeah, I'm sorry, Vipavsha. I'm just giving it right away. I'm so sorry.
Sure, Ramesh. Ramesh, one more question for you. Like, you said that you will be providing the document to set up the Kubernetes cluster on RHEL.
One second, just 1 second. Let me give it right to you.
Ramesh, are we having class tomorrow?
Yes, we have. We have.
Please send me also. I will try with CentOS. I have set with Ubuntu. I want to try with CentOS now.
No, CentOS and Red Hat is same to same.
Yeah.
Same
Okay.
to same. There is no single change.
Yeah.
892.
And Ramesh, instead of setting with IP, do you have any steps to set up with the name? Because sometimes when the IP changes, the Kubernetes cluster is again having some issues. So again, you need to do some tweaks to update the new IP. Instead of that, we can set up with the name,
No,
right? So
we
whenever
can.
the IP matter.
Yeah, but you need to have the this one DNS name.
Okay.
If you have DNS name, then we can do
Or
it.
we can have ETC host without DNS.
No. That is not possible. You need to have the DNS. No, then when you try to access it from the Windows machine, from your laptop, then how you are going to access it?
Yes. There also ETC host possible, but DNS is better.
DNS. I
On the
think
virtual box, when you set up, right, in the ETC host, you can provide the IP and put the name, right? Whenever it
right.
changes. That way it
Yes, in
resolves.
Windows also you can set ETC host, but that path should be different, not in the root/ETC host.
Correct. I will try that one. The thing is, you are asking. I have tried with the actual real DNS name, but I have not tried with the local machine DNS name by using ETC host. It will fail actually. It will fail because it doesn't read the nsswitch.conf file of the Linux machine to go to the ETC host. Kubernetes doesn't understand to go to the ETC host file. No, it will not work.
Okay.
Yeah, it will not
At
work.
present, I have set up with using the manual IP, so that it doesn't change. The other day it changed and it screwed up my cluster. So
fix the IP. Fix up the IP address. So the problem of whenever you rebooting the machine, your cluster goes down, right? Because its IP address gets changed. So to solve that one, you fix up the IP address of the cluster.
Yeah, I removed some that PF files and API server files. So and then created the new ones with IP. With the new IP instead of removing the cluster. But yeah, not successful in that. But yeah, sure, I'll try that.
No, every time I am rebooting this machine, right? I have my clusters running on my local machine very nicely. Whenever I start, it works very well. The reason
So
is
is
that
it
I have
manual IP?
the IP address. Huh?
You did set up a manual IP?
Yes, yes. I have given my Wi-Fi's IP addresses.
Yes, I did the same thing. Yeah, so that it doesn't change.
Yeah, but you have to use the bridge for that.
Yeah, I'm using bridge network and turn off the firewall so that I can access the nodes from my local machine as well.
Right, correct. So 1 second, let me give this
So is
command.
there any guide to follow to install in our machine?
No, I'm giving you just 1 second. I'm just giving you.
Ramesh, could you please also take the refresher session after end of the course from scratch?
I think we
Is it
need to
possible?
take a permission from. We have to take a permission. If you just talk to me, oh my God, I stopped. I will just talk to the everyone from the K21 and we'll try to have a examination related session. We can conduct, right? That's it. Just give me 1
Yeah,
minute, guys.
revision. You can say revision or and exam related guidance also.
Yeah, sure. Why
How
not?
to prepare for the exam.
Yeah, that is fine. No problem. This is a simple command for the Red Hat also. This is yum.repository, right?
Yeah.
This is I'm going to give you. This is very simple actually. Same to same. Some steps are different only. This is on AWS I have installed. And also the same steps I have used on the that's it. Anything else you can see here? No. Yeah, kubectl installation, not kubectl installation. Yeah, that's it. This is the steps I have used everywhere. Yeah, Kubernetes installation. This is this one documentation you can follow. Let me give it to you. Copy this, guys. But it doesn't get copied properly, right?
Ramesh, you can share this doc with me. I will upload this on the portal.
Right, just 1 second. Let me just give it to him.
Upload where you upload the previous notes, maybe.
Now, Piyush, I will not be
The
able to
VMware on a
remember.
laptop.
I will share. I will share the
link?
I will share link with you. No problem.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Piyush, can I copy in then this one?
Ramesh, can you give a Google Drive a link or a Google Doc kind of thing so that we can access directly?
Okay.
I will share this on the portal actually.
He will share
Instead
later.
of sharing Google link, I will upload this on the portal and I will update on the group for we have uploaded the doc on the portal. So on the portal you can access this.
Okay, that will be nice. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Piyush, I have created on the machine. Okay. The Kubernetes folder
Okay.
is there.
Then I will copy. Yeah, sure. I will copy from the machine then. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
okay.
Fine.
Modern techniques.
Chalo,
Sure.
fine.
You
Thank you,
using
guys.
VirtualBox CLI commands or you are using just through the GUI?
This one?
VirtualBox CLI commands, or you are doing it using the GUI, the configuration?
Configuration I am doing from the GUI only, right? But I am accessing all my Kubernetes cluster from the command line only. I don't have GUI installed for any server. Everything is command line.
Yeah, inside the machine. Okay, yeah, that's okay.
Everything is a minimal operating system. There is no GUI on any machine.
Yeah, okay.
Ramesh, can you share the remaining commands? I think from 944 to 106 are still remaining.
I think Piyush, can you do that, please, if you don't mind? 1 second. 944.
Yeah,
Ramesh, I think I
944
will
to 106.
share all the history because in GoToMeeting you can't upload more than 10 yet 20 lines, I think. So you
I need
can't
to
copy
keep
all the
copying it.
links.
So Vipasha, he will upload in the portal. So please refer from that one if you don't mind.
Previous commands also available on the
Okay.
portal. them on the portal. So I will upload these also on the portal.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, Piyush. Okay.
yeah, Piyush, do one thing, Piyush. You can just one more time show them where it will be found tomorrow evening, where that links are available, so that they can
Okay,
easily.
yeah, sure. So I will share the navigation on the group. I think that will be great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, please do
Ramesh.
that. All
And
right,
Ramesh,
guys. So
tomorrow is like for security RBAC, Ramesh, or what we are planning tomorrow? I mean, just want to know.
RBAC security.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay, Okay, guys. So thank you very much. Have a nice time ahead. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Ramesh.
you very
Good
much,
night.
Ramesh.
Thank
Have a
you,
good night.
Ramesh. Thank you.
Thanks, Ramesh. Good night.
Bye, Ramesh. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
Good
Ramesh.
night.